What is it? What is it about? What can we do with it? How can we play with it?
Yeah, so welcome everybody. That's a good question, Gabrielle. What is talking with molecules? Um, Maybe one step back is what is consciousness, and everybody has a point of view about what consciousness is. You know, maybe some people have points of view that it's meditating a lot, or it's being kind and caring, or but one of the really cool definitions of consciousness that comes from Access Consciousness, and it's something that I've been playing with for the last 15 years, and I haven't been able to put a hole in it yet, is consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. And if you use that in just about any situation, then you'll start to be more conscious of where you are being conscious and where you're doing anti-consciousness or unconsciousness.
Right.
Unconsciousness or anti-consciousness. Now, unconsciousness is where you don't know any better and you're sort of still stuck in the program. And I guess if you're on this, you've already decided, or you're already making a choice that that's not working for you anymore. So it might be a health issue, might be a financial problem, it might be a relationship issue that's sort of getting you to have a look at these things.
Or the end of a relationship.
End of a relationship, yeah.
Yeah, that's what got me on this point.
Yeah, for me it was a health issue. And you know, it doesn't matter what it is. For some people it's just a choice, you know, but many of us don't recognize that we do just have it as a choice, and we have to create a relationship issue or a health issue or a financial problem or some problem in our lives in order to motivate us to get to creating a different reality, something that's beyond this reality.
Instead of asking a question and then choosing. So question, choice, possibility.
Exactly. So those four elements, where you mentioned three, but there's four of choice, question, possibility, and contribution, are actually the four energies that you can step into. They're not linear. It's not like you choose and then you contribute and then you get a possibility, etc. They're all working together to create your reality. Well, what we've been taught in this reality is to choose by DJCCs, or decisions, judgments, computations, and conclusions, which is all about this reality. You know, should I come on this call?
But does it feel light?
If it feels light, then it's true for you, and if it feels heavy, it's a lie for you. But that's one of the tools in Access that we use. But many of us are still in this point, and if I choose this, what will I get out of it? What will be the benefit? And what will I lose? So you're looking at the judgment part of it rather than just choosing what would be light or what would be and hence true for you. And we do that in relationship a lot, don't we, Gabriel?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Several times. I've had two goes at it.
And especially, we're all men on here at the moment, so that's really cool, because what we find with a lot of men is that they will cut off who they be to fit into the woman's reality, to make sure that she's sexually satisfied, that she has the right amount of money, or even if you're gay, you know, he has the right amount of money, that you're doing the right thing by them, that you're loyal to them, that you're all of these things. And then you don't get to be you, and the relationship doesn't work because they don't like you anymore because you're not being you.
So consciousness is more about getting off autopilot.
Yeah. Well, so let's go back to the anti-consciousness and unconsciousness thing. So unconsciousness is where you're still in autopilot, and then anti-consciousness is where you are, where you know you're on autopilot and still choosing it.
Do I want to choose this?
Yeah. And many of us have done that, and that's okay. That's not a problem, because what you'll do is you'll find out you'll find out things about yourself that you didn't want to know. And then when you're really willing to receive a different possibility and be vulnerable and be you, then you'll go, well, I'm not doing that again. That's just doesn't work for me anymore. So that's we've just hit you with a tsunami of stuff, you know, like we've just given you the background for a lot of what's goes on in a foundation class. And I don't want you to walk away from this thinking, oh, we've talked about all of that now, so I've done foundation. Because foundation class is 4 days, and it's actually, you actually create an energy in it, and it's sort of like you start off with your woes and your problems or your issues or what it is that you'd like to change. Not everybody comes with a problem. And then we look in every single area of your life, from money, finance, entities, bodies. Like, say that again. Sorry, Gabriel.
Relationships.
He's still on relationships.
I've done the foundation 3.5 times.
Yeah.
2.5 times. Yeah. So, and each time different energies come up, different things were discussed, different contribution, and all of a sudden somebody else in the class might have something come up and you're like, oh shit, I need to look at that within myself. And so the other people in the class are a contribution to you looking at your own shit as well.
Yeah. Especially those people you don't like in the class.
Oh yes.
So one of the cool things is that in Access that we're willing to look at anything and talk about anything. And also we have the tools to change anything. So every class, every foundation class, every bars class is slightly different because there's different people. Well, not slightly, it's totally different because there are different people in the class, and you're going through a different layer of the process. So that's part of it.
I've done bars about 5 times. Every class, once again, was different people, different energies, and it was an amazing process to go through, and even interacting with other people.
Yeah.
And when you're learning bars with somebody new, there is a new energy. And every time you do bars with a person that you don't know, there's an energy that gets brought up that you can clear out within them and you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, welcome, Susan. And sorry we were a bit late. I just flew in from London yesterday, and I've been asleep a lot. So basically, I worked out that it was on at 7 o'clock, but I thought it was 7 o'clock my time in Australia, which is not 7 o'clock your time in New Zealand. So I apologise.
Where's my video going? Oh, it's disappeared. There we go. Look at that. Cool.
But we've just been talking about. Please listen to the first 10 minutes of this if you've just joined us, because we've just been talking about the definition of consciousness, which is. Can anyone remember? Definition of consciousness is it judges nothing and includes everything. That includes judgment. Yeah, so you don't have to beat yourself up when you do go into judgment, because then you're stepping out of being conscious because you're not including.
Then you're going into the wrongness of you.
Yes,
and with consciousness, there is no good, bad, right, or wrong.
We want, exactly. We want to get you out of you thinking that you're wrong for everything that you do or be. Actually, everything you be. It's the part of the purpose of Access is to get you to know that you do know, not what you know, but that you know, and that you are an infinite being. And when you are functioning as an infinite being, then you can receive so much more. True story.
So the idea is to get you out of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and in your knowing, being, perceiving, and receiving.
Yes. And when we say get you out of your emotions, we're not talking about getting you out of like things like joy and happiness and fun and all of that that stuff.
But there are not emotions. We're talking about anger and bawling your eyes out in the corner of the room and wanting to hide under a rock. Those emotions.
Yeah.
Or judgment emotions. Oh, that person judged me.
And also, you know, all of those things that people in this reality make so vital, valuable, and real. And you'll notice that whenever you switch on the television, is it about the joy of living and watching the news, or is it about who's just been murdered and the poor people in South Africa that can't feed themselves and all of this sort of stuff? Now, when you are functioning from that perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving, you have so much more access to you and to all of the molecules around you and in your body. So by talking with the molecules, you actually start to engage a different sort of energy that allows you to create and generate the reality that you would like to have. Now, it's not about creating a reality that I would like you to have. You know, my reality and your reality can be totally different, but it doesn't have to exclude each other. And what in this reality, that's what it's all about. Everybody is trying to sell you their point of view. In Foundation, we're not selling you a point of view. In Access, we're not selling you a point of view. We're selling you a set of tools and processes that allow you to create your reality and to have and know your own point of view. And if your point of view is not working, that is, a point of view is like a belief. A point of view is like, if you look at somebody's house, for instance, and you look at it from the front, then you only have the perception of the house from the front, yeah? The door, the window next to it, the two windows above it, and the chimney, you know, the typical kid's picture. So you will wander around this reality always thinking that a house looks like that. But if you're willing to change your point of view and go round to the back, then you can see the servants' entrance, you can see the dunny, that's Australian for toilet. You can see where people don't mow their lawns. You get to see a different point of view. Yeah. So we're not interested in selling you a point of view. We're interested in giving you the tools and processes that will allow you to commune with the molecules, to be in communion with everything, and
including your own body.
Hey,
including your own body.
Including your own body, which we often tend to forget. That you can actually have communion with that. Believe it or not, that your body is made up of the same molecules as the air that's around your body. Yeah, it's the same energy, the space, and same consciousness. It might be different atoms, but it's the same energy, space, and consciousness. And so when you are willing to tap into the energy and space and consciousness of who you be, and including your body, you can talk to every molecule that's around you. And
so how many times do people walk around actually not engaging in their body and living from that well, their body is who they are, not as a part of who they are?
Yeah, well, there's two things here. There's one is that people actually believe that they're their body, and then there's the other part, which is this, like a very spiritual point of view, that your spirit or soul or whatever you like to call it is greater than your body, and often done from a point of view of judgment, that the body is somehow wrong. That, you know, it's the typical religious idea that the sins of the flesh, and there is no sins of the flesh. It's just a choice. If you're willing to actually work and commune with every molecule, you can't just commune with your own body. You've got to commune with every molecule on the planet, in the universe, to have communion. Communion is not just with you. Communion with it is with every molecule. And when you have that as your reality, or like, I'd like to say I have that with my reality, but I would be lying, and that's okay. It's okay to lie, and it's okay not to have that, is what I'm saying. But I'm shooting for it. And if you're on this, I would say that you're possibly shooting for it too. Otherwise, you wouldn't be interested in this sort of thing. You'd be still interested in creating more of this reality of judgment. And if that's not... Huh?
Trauma and drama.
Trauma and drama, or trauma, as I call it.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to do now is actually start to have a look at acknowledgement, because what Gabriel said was just how many people are not engaging with their bodies, but how many of you are actually engaging with your bodies and engaging with the molecules around it, but not acknowledging it. And one of the things is when you don't acknowledge what you're being and doing, it tends to bite you in the butt. Yeah. So like, how many of you talk to your car?
Oh yeah, all the time.
All the time. Yeah. Yeah. How many of you talk to your television or talk to your computer? Yeah.
So I talk to my phone because I don't have a computer.
So you don't have it. So you talk to your phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Many of us talk to these things.
I've started a new one, talking to customers' cars when they come in with issues.
Well, this is a great thing, because you've already acknowledged that you talk to your car, and now you're expanding that. You're creating more communion with other people's cars, and you're talking. Yeah. So what we should see there, and tell me if I'm getting this correct, is that your job would become more fun, more joyful, more easy, and the cars would tell you what's wrong with them, and you wouldn't spend so much time trying to find out what's wrong with them. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, you do actually have a lot more fun and a lot more joy.
Yeah. Because like when I was driving to Sydney for the BNU in August, I was having a really funky half an hour. You know, I was aware of a lot of energies, a lot of entities around me. And then down the highway, I managed to change something. And then all of a sudden, I was having a conversation with my car. And my car sort of said, "Hi!" And I went, "Oh my God, who's that?" "Oh, it's my car." And my car was so happy. It's a Kia. It's a V6, and it likes to go on long drives. It doesn't like going down to the shops and back all day.
No, I drive a V8, and my V8 likes open road, foot down.
Yeah.
Exhaust, music up loud.
So when this occurred, it was like as soon as I acknowledged that it was talking with me, and I could then have a conversation with it, my joy levels went up like 200 million%. And then all of these other trucks and buses and a crane talked to me, and the tarmac was talking to me, and the ride in was just so much fun. It was amazing until I got to Sydney. And then I gave all my power and potency over to Google, and I didn't follow my awareness. So I ended over at the North Shore rather than being on the south side of Sydney. So, and this is when we step out of our awareness, step out of trusting who we perceive, who we be as infinite beings.
And how much fun did you have being on the other side of Sydney?
Well, I had quite a lot of fun because I did a naughty thing. I did a U-turn in the middle of the highway and went through a red light. B, I suddenly realized that if I just trust myself, I could find the flat with total ease. And so I started to relax, and it was so much more joyful. Susan here says she talks to all kinds of things. Yeah. Now, this is just an interesting point of view, but women tend to have a greater capacity with this. They're taught that. And you may have noticed that when a woman has car problems, she'll go more into question about it, and then just lay her hands and talk to the car, and the car will start. When a man has car problems, he goes into trying to fix it because that's what he's taught from a very young age is that you have to fix a problem. So,
Guilty.
hey?
Guilty. Fixing
Yeah.
the problem. And then you do that with other things, like your relations with friends, relations with family.
Yeah. And what happens is that you become a know-it-all, and nobody wants to engage with you.
So I tell people these days, I know nothing.
I know nothing.
I know nothing.
So somebody's actually asked a question there. I'll just read it out. How can you trust yourself? Now, that's a good question. It's not so much of a how. It's more stepping into your perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving, which is about the foundation class, is to get you to start really trusting every choice that you make, even if it's a choice that doesn't work out the way that you would have liked it to have worked out as.
I like Dane's definition on that one. It's like you've got 10 seconds to choose the rest of your life. What do you choose?
Mm-hmm.
10 seconds, choose the rest of your life. What do you choose? And you do that every 10 seconds. And I found that a great tool when I was in sort of a bit of a funky stage. It's like, okay, what am I feeling? What am I perceiving? What do I know? And it's like, okay, I'm a bit pissed off. I'm a bit angry. Okay, I have 10 seconds to choose the rest of my life. What do I choose? Oh, I choose joy and happiness.
Yeah.
And I keep revolving that a number of times. Then all of a sudden, it was still like, okay, what was I angry and pissed off about? Why was I unhappy? I have no idea. I'm happy now. Who cares?
And that's exactly right. And that's how easy and joyful it can be. And so I guess this is the part of the beauty of Access and the classes, is that you'll sort of soak up these tools and they start to become more and more of you, and you start to choose to use them in your reality. It's a bit going back to the car analogy again. You know, if you've got a flat tire and you've got the tools in the boot, if you don't go to the boot, open the boot, get the tools out, then you're not using the tools. So
and you've got a flat tire.
Huh? And you've still got a flat tire, or you're still depressed. So it's about a choice of, okay, I'm demanding change, and I'm going to choose this. I'm going to choose to use these tools, and you'll start to actually develop that trust in you without actually having to know how to do it. It will just start to become part of your reality. Because as an infinite being, would you ever doubt you?
Oh, shit, no.
No.
Shit, no.
So it's a lie that you've bought, that doubt is a lie. Yeah, and that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about trusting yourself. You're talking about doubting yourself. A doubt is a lie. It's an implant that is designed to control you, so that you never be the infinite being that you truly be, so that you will fit into this reality. Yeah, and then the government, the religion, your family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your brothers, your sisters, money gets to control you, rather than you get to be the creator of your reality. So then Dan goes on and he says, is it just doubt that stops us from being all in communication? That's another good question. It's not just doubt. And you will learn more about the distractor implants in the foundation. There are 24 distractor implants that keep you from being you, and they're literally implanted in you, not just this lifetime, but also in other lifetimes. So anything that is heavy, anger, rage, fury, hate, that's really light, fun, fluffy, yeah.
No,
blame, shame, regret, and guilt, yeah.
No, not fun at all.
Doubt. Oh, when you go into doubt, so much fun, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love doubt. Oh, should I do this? Just do it.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, choose something else 10 seconds later.
Yeah. So if it's not fun and light for you, then it's not true for you. So any of those things like doubt, it's not a fun energy. It's not a light energy. It would be more correct. So it's not true for you. It's just not true for you. So that's when you would use the access clearing statement of everything that is pop and pocket. That's the short version. Is it there to protect us? Now, this is a very interesting question because that's actually a very spiritual point of view. You know, feel the fear and do it anyway. Well, fear is another distractor implant. Doubt, is it really there to protect you? When you're in doubt, does it feel light? No. So everywhere where you've bought that, thank you, Pan, everywhere where you've bought that doubt is there to protect you. When it's actually there to keep you under control, will you now give it back to Jesus or whoever you bought it from and return it to sender with all the consciousness of the universe attached? Good and bad, right, wrong, pop, popcorn, ice, short, boys and beyonds. And that's the access clearing statement. If you're new to access and you've never heard of it, you can go to
the access clearing statement on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, those were really three great questions, and we could spend a whole 4 hours talking about just those. But this is we're going to do a few more of these. We're going to shoot for one a week until we have foundation in New Zealand in Nelson. When?
It will be starting off the 17th of January.
And I think we've got a bars class on that.
13th of January.
Yeah. So it's not long. When we send this video out to you to watch again, and please watch it again, because what will occur is that if you watch this up to 5 times, on the 5th time, you will go, oh my God, I didn't hear that the first time, and it will change your reality. I know, I've done it a lot.
It's like watching the Matrix movie about 5 million times and going, wow, I never saw that in the last one.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 reasons for that. One, because your barriers were up and you weren't willing to receive it. Or 2, it wasn't there in the first time, and it's changed. One of the funny things is, at the end of the foundation booklet, at the end of the class, we get to read this. It's almost like a poem about consciousness, about oneness. It's written by Barry Little, who started Access with Gary many years ago. And about 5 years ago, Gary rewrote the foundation class, and he read that out, and he went, "Oh my God, this has changed." And I went, oh, bullshit. So I went and grabbed one of the old Access manuals that I had, and it had changed.
Wow.
It had literally changed. And so every time that we get together to do a class, every time that we do a point of creation, that is using the clearing statement, what actually happens is we start to pull out the reference points of the past, and we start to delete the past as the creation of our future. So things can literally change, what we call it is jumping track, and this is the place where miracles occur, is where we jump track, where we start to choose to be the infinite beings that we truly be, and we no longer function from our past choices or decisions. We let go of them, or we destroy and uncreate them, and you can then have miracles. And I used to say seeming miracles, but they are actually miracles. Like some of you might be sitting there wondering what that lump is on my neck, and it is a tumor. But the interesting thing is that I had 2 tumors to begin with, and the primary one was in the throat. Now, just by using these tools, that one is gone. And it was the one that I didn't make significant, funnily enough, because you couldn't see it. So the one that I made significant, or the one that I put all my energy and attention to, has been the one that has been harder to change. Which may be helpful for you guys.
Is that the one due to everybody can see it, and you've gone into judgment of your body of this lump protruding out of your neck? or what other people might perceive protruding out of your neck.
Yeah, and this is where we get into some really, really weird stuff, because how many of your judgments of you are actually you perceiving other people's judgments? And so say something with this, people judge it, oh, that's ugly, or that's weird, or what did he do wrong to get that? And then if you buy somebody's projected judgment as yours, then you start to create your reality from their point of view. This is where you're using your perception against you, and not in a good way, because, you know, like, you can create a tumor with it. It's very easy. So the foundation, first of all, bars is great to get you to the point where you can start to receive a different possibility. And then foundation gives you all the tools to get out of everywhere where you've brought everybody else's point of view as yours, which we were just talking about. So, hey, with no point of view. Yeah, so we haven't really talked about, we've talked around about talking with molecules, but just to summarize, just before we finish, I'd like you to start to write down all the miracles that show up in your reality.
I'm a miracle.
Yeah, like it could be a person too. Yeah, they are miracles that show up in your reality. But also, this is to start to get to acknowledge you and acknowledge your capacities, and also to write down where you are actually already talking to molecules. So, or even if you don't write it down, just make a mental note of it and acknowledge yourself. Oh, I'm already doing that. I'm already being that. This is the place where I'm already being in communion. If you've got a place that works in your life, maybe you make gazillions of dollars very easily, then you're probably in communion with that area of your life already. So acknowledge it. And then as soon as you acknowledge it, you can start to have that show up in the places that you're not, that you've got
blocks,
quote unquote, because they're not really. It's just a possibility in disguise. Yeah. And then start talking to the molecules around you. Start talking to your car. Start talking to your clothes. You know, like, what clothes would like to come into your reality?
I found a really good one. It's like you're sitting in a chair and you're feeling uncomfortable. Well, you can talk to the molecules of the chair to make your seated position a hell of a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's great on an airplane too, especially if you're sitting on there for 24 hours.
Absolutely. Yeah, been there, done that in 15 hours from Houston to Auckland. Oh, yeah. Especially in middle class.
And that's the cool thing, because then, like, for me, just coming back from London, I did think about upgrading to business class, but it was $4,000, and I just really didn't want to spend $4,000 on the upgrade. So I just asked for the universe. I just asked the molecules for an alternative to show up where my body could lie down the entire way. And so the first leg of the journey, I had 3 seats to myself. On the second leg of my journey, I had 4 seats to myself, so I could lie down and sleep the entire way.
How does it get any better?
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm super cool and I'm much greater than any of you guys. I'm doing it because I'm doing it because I'm acknowledging me, and it's also an example to give you a place where you don't acknowledge that, because I know a lot of you guys can do that already. Yeah. But do you acknowledge it? Do you go, wow, I'm pretty cool? No, because that's the tall poppy syndrome.
In a humble way.
Yeah. Well,
you don't like to do it in a show off. Well, oh, I can do this. Judgment. Come on, bring it on. I want to receive your judgment. More money.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. you won't do it like, when Gabriel just said, "Oh, I'm so cool," did you see the energy on that? Did you perceive the energy of that? Was it light? Was it fun? Was it him being an asshole? No, it was just his joy. Yeah. And that's where we'd like to get you to, functioning from that joy, because that is you as an infinite being.
And it's so much fun. It is so much fun.
Yeah. And if you don't choose that, that's fine too. It's just a choice. You gets it when you gets it. Okay, guys.
Every day changes.
We're going to have another one of these next week. I hope I'll be in facilitators at that stage. So I might just really knock you for 6. You never know. And Gabriel, have you got anything you'd like to add?
No, I've sort of put my little bits and pieces in. Just stay tuned. I will post when the next video is, what we'll talk about in the next one, and of course put up links to bars and foundation class in January. And yeah, if anybody wants to contact me by messenger and talk some more about it.
That reminds me, Gabriel.
Yes.
Like, I'm coming from Australia, so it's I'd like to have a few people in the class so I can pay for my flight, because I'm not doing this for free.
No, exactly.
But the thing is, if you like to come along to the class, I don't care whether you come or not, but if you're choosing the class, register for the class, because as soon as it's an indication to the universe that this is what you'd like to do, and as soon as you choose it, whatever the thing is that's stopping you from having that as part of your reality, maybe it's money, or you don't have the time, or you've got a health issue, those things will start to change as soon as you've registered, as soon as you choose it.
I've had that for myself. It's like, you go into that sort of, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. And then all of a sudden you go, well, fuck it. I actually want to choose this. And then you put that energy in, right, I'm going to choose it. You register it. You have no idea how you're going to achieve it. And things just show up in your life and you do it. I had that with going to COP. I had no idea how I was getting there. I just wanted to go sit in the COP class with Gary, be with the man himself from Access Consciousness, and things showed up in my life that got me there. Yeah.
And that is part of not having a predictable reality. It's the only place that you can create miracles is when you go into the quote unquote unknown, to go into that uncomfortable zone. So I know a lot of you, this may be very much your first bars or first foundation class, and it's sort of like it's unknown. We don't want to do the class now for you, because you haven't actually chosen it as yet. As soon as you choose it and you step into the field of infinite possibilities, all those other things like money and health and relationships, all of these things, even time, can change to contribute to creating your reality. But you have to be willing to be in the uncomfortable zone. That doesn't mean that you don't have nice, 1,000 thread bamboo cotton sheets on your bed, which are like silk. But it does mean that you step beyond your known reality, and you start to step into infinite possibilities where all possibilities are available. And that's where true choice starts.
It's removing those limitations of what this reality creates.
Yeah, and for some of you, that can be uncomfortable, especially if you've got a financial issue going on. Yeah.
Well, I have to admit, at the start, it was uncomfortable. There's several times where I was way out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Hugely uncomfortable. But you know what? There's a lot of fun and joy in being outside the box.
There is.
Outside the box.
Yeah. Heaps and heaps and heaps. So If there is something that you cannot change, either get your bars run or choose something different. Choice creates.
Where automatically corrects a word. I hated that. It's like they're trying to control you.
Well, someone's talking about it in the background there. Can you hear them? That's so cool.
Yeah,
But we've done our job. Like, we've created some question. You guys are in the background there talking about a choice and control. We heard you. And,
we heard you. Pain you can't escape.
and that's so cool. Keep questioning. Question everything. Yeah.
Oops, LOL.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for showing up, and we'll have another one of these next week. I don't know what we'll talk about next week. I guess Gabrielle and I will.
We'll come up with something interesting, something fun again.
Okay, cool. Catch you all later.
Bye all.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.